In 2022, researchers at the University of Oxford published one of the largest studies ever done on video games and mental health, nearly 40,000 players. And what they found was genuinely interesting. People who played games like Animal Crossing and Plants vs. Zombies reported higher levels of well-being. Not lower, actually, but higher. Other studies have shown improvements in spatial reasoning, reaction time, problem solving. There's real data behind the idea that gaming can sharpen your brain in certain ways. But here's the part nobody talks about. A separate body of research, mostly coming out of addiction neuroscience, found that the same games producing those cognitive benefits were also increasing cravings and weakening impulse control in a significant portion of players. Not all players, not even most, dude, but enough that it raises a question worth sitting with. So how does the same activity make some people sharper and other people stuck? I've racked up like over 13,000 wins on Clash Royale over the last 10 years. I've spent legit over $1,000, dude. But to be fair, I got top 2K on 2v2 mode a couple years back, and also just snuck a top 6,000 in UC a couple years back also. I've had stretches where I genuinely believe the game made my decision making faster. And I've had stretches where I opened the app 14 times in a day without even enjoying it. So I'm not here to tell you gaming is bad. I love the game, I guess, man. But I think something more complicated is happening than most of us want to admit. Let me ask you something. When did you start playing the most? Because for me, and I think for a lot of people if they're honest, it wasn't when life was going great. It was during the gaps, the stretches where you didn't really know what you were doing. Maybe you were between jobs. Maybe school felt pointless. Maybe you were dealing with something at home you couldn't control. And the game was just there, reliable, consistent. It didn't ask anything difficult of you. It didn't make you feel uncertain. There's a concept in psychology called experiential avoidance. It's not as dramatic as it sounds. It basically means that when something in your environment feels uncomfortable, stress, boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, your brain looks for the fastest way to not feel that anymore. And games are absurdly good at filling that role, not because they're evil, because they're well designed. They give you a problem you can actually solve in the next 3 minutes. And when the rest of your life feels like a series of problems that might take 3 years, that's an incredibly attractive offer. Nobody sits down and consciously decides, I'm going to use Clash Royale to avoid my responsibilities. That's not how it works. You just open the app, you play a match, you feel a little better, you do it again, and over time, the game quietly becomes your default response to discomfort. Not because you're weak, because your nervous system is doing exactly what it evolved to do, moving toward reward and away from pain. Now, a lot of games can fill that role. But Clash Royale is unusually good at it, and I think it's worth understanding why. Supercell didn't just build a card game, they built one of the most refined engagement machines in mobile gaming history. And I say that with genuine respect for the craft, because the design is brilliant. It's also, if you look closely, a masterclass in exploiting how human brains respond to reward. Start with the progression system. You're always one chest away from something, one upgrade away from the next level, one card away from completing a deck. The gap between where you are and where you could be is always visible, always small enough to feel reachable, and always resetting the moment you get there. That's not an accident. That's a treadmill designed to feel like a staircase. Then there's the matchmaking. You win a few, you feel great, you feel like you're improving. Then you hit a wall. You lose 3 or 4 in a row. And part of you knows the matchmaking is doing something. Trophy gates, card level disparities, whatever. But it doesn't matter. Because the emotional cycle has already done its job. The highs feel earned and the lows feel fixable. So you keep playing. You keep chasing the version of the game where you're winning. The monetization layers on top of all of this perfectly. Limited time offers, season passes, exclusive emotes. They create urgency around spending in a way that bypasses rational evaluation. You're not thinking about whether the Magic Archer skin is worth $6. You're thinking about the fact that it disappears in 47 hours. Scarcity is maybe the oldest psychological lever in marketing. and Supercell pulls it constantly. And look, I'm not saying Supercell is sitting in a room twirling a mustache. They're a game company. They make money by keeping you engaged. That's the business model. But the result is a product that is scientifically, structurally optimized to keep you coming back. And I think most players underestimate how much of their choice to keep playing is actually being architected for them. Here's something that bothers me about Clash Royale that I don't hear people talk about enough. The game launched in 2016, 10 years ago. There are players who have been grinding this game for a decade. Think about what that means in terms of time, in terms of money. Some of the people watching this have spent more hours in Clash Royale than they've spent learning any single real-world skill, and I include myself in that. But here's what makes it worse. Supercell has a pattern of releasing updates that fundamentally reshape the game. Card reworks, balance changes, entire mechanic overhauls. Evolution cards came in and essentially told every player who'd spent years maxing out a specific deck, cool, start over. The meta shifts. Your carefully built collection becomes irrelevant, and you either grind again or you fall behind. Now imagine you spent 3 years getting really good at guitar, and then one morning the manufacturer released a patch that changed how strings work. You'd lose your mind. But in Clash Royale, we just accept it. We open the app, read the patch notes, sigh, and start grinding again. Because what else are you going to do? The sunk cost is enormous. Years of progress, hundreds or thousands of dollars. That weight keeps you in the chair. And that's the fundamental instability of digital achievement. It exists at the pleasure of the developer. Your trophies, your maxed cards, your rank, none of it is yours. It's data on a server that Supercell controls. They can change it, devalue it, or shut it down entirely. And when they do, you're left with nothing tangible to show for it. Just time spent. This is the part I find most interesting, and honestly, most uncomfortable. Clash Royale feels more rewarding than real life. And I don't think it's close. Think about what the game gives you. You play a 3-minute match, and you get instant feedback. You won or you lost. You gained trophies or you didn't. There's a number going up or down. There's a chest to open. There are bright colors, satisfying sounds, a dopamine hit packaged and delivered in under 180 seconds. Now think about real life. You go to the gym for 3 months and you look roughly the same. You spend a semester studying and your grade might go up by a letter. You work on a business idea for a year and maybe it starts generating a little bit of money. You apply for 20 jobs and hear back from 2. Real progress is slow. It's ambiguous. It doesn't come with particle effects and a victory screen. Your brain doesn't care about what's meaningful in some philosophical sense. It cares about feedback loops. And Clash Royale's feedback loops are tighter, louder, and faster than almost anything real life can offer. So when you sit down to study and your brain says, "This is boring, open Clash," it's not because you're lazy. It's because your reward system has been calibrated by thousands of matches to expect a certain speed of payoff. And reading a textbook can't compete with that. This is why so many players describe this weird feeling of being simultaneously bored and unable to stop. The game isn't even that fun anymore, but nothing else feels as immediately stimulating. You're not playing because you love it. You're playing because your brain has forgotten how to be satisfied by anything slower. When Clash Royale becomes your primary source of progress and achievement, something quietly breaks. Not in a dramatic, my life is falling apart way. More in a subtle, I don't really know why I feel stuck way. Because you are progressing. You're climbing ladder, you're unlocking cards, you're winning challenges. The problem is that all of that progress is contained inside a system that doesn't transfer to anything outside of it. Your Clash Royale rank doesn't help you get a job. Your max deck doesn't improve your health. Your trophy count doesn't make your relationships better. And I think the danger isn't gaming itself. The danger is the replacement. When the game becomes a substitute for the kinds of progress that actually change your life. You end up in this strange position where you feel productive, but nothing around you is moving. You have the emotional sensation of achievement without any of the real-world results. It's like eating food that tastes amazing, but has no calories. You feel full, but you're starving. And I've been there. I've had weeks where I felt like I was doing something every day because I was grinding Clash. And then I'd look up and realize I hadn't worked on anything real in a month. The game gave me just enough of a sense of accomplishment to quiet the part of my brain that was supposed to be uncomfortable about stagnation. Here's something I started noticing after I became more aware of all this. When I was stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, Clash Royale had a gravitational pull that was almost physical. I could feel myself reaching for my phone before I'd even made a decision to play. But when things in my life were going well, when I felt genuinely relaxed and settled, I could play 2 matches and put the phone down. Same game, same mechanics, completely different relationship with it. I think the difference is your baseline state. When your nervous system is constantly activated, fight or flight, stress hormones, that low-level hum of anxiety, your brain is desperate for regulation, and the game regulates you. It gives you focus, control, a solvable problem, a hit of dopamine. It calms the noise. So of course you keep going back. But when you're already calm, when your life has some structure and your stress is manageable, the game is just a game. It's entertainment. You enjoy it, and then you move on. The grip loosens because there's nothing for it to grip onto. A person with a healthy nervous system can play Clash Royale for fun. A person whose nervous system is dysregulated plays Clash Royale for survival. Same behavior on the outside. Completely different thing happening on the inside. So what do you actually do with all of this? I'm not going to tell you to delete the game. I think that advice is lazy, and it usually doesn't stick anyway. You delete it, feel virtuous for a week, and then download it again at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday because you're bored. The app isn't the problem. Your relationship with it is the problem. The first thing, and honestly the most important thing, is just awareness. Not performative self-improvement awareness, where you journal about your screen time and feel guilty. Just noticing. Noticing when you open the app. Noticing what you were feeling right before you opened it. Were you bored? Stressed? Avoiding something? Or did you genuinely just want to play a game? There's a difference, and most people have never bothered to check which one is happening. The second thing is building what I'd call competing sources of progress. Not replacing gaming with some grinding, hustle culture morning routine. Just having something else in your life where you can see yourself getting better over time. It could be fitness. It could be learning to cook. It could be a side project. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it gives you a sense of forward motion that exists outside of a screen. Because right now, if Clash Royale is your only progress bar, then of course you're going to keep filling it. It's the only one you have. The third thing, and this is the one nobody wants to hear, is addressing whatever the game is helping you avoid. Because almost always, heavy gaming is a downstream symptom of something upstream. Stress you're not managing, a life situation you're not confronting, a feeling of purposelessness you're not sitting with. The game is the painkiller. The question is, what's actually hurting? And that's not a question I can answer for you in a YouTube video. But it is worth asking yourself with a level of honesty that might be uncomfortable. I still play Clash Royale. I played it yesterday. I'll probably play it tomorrow. But the way I play now is different than the way I played 2 years ago. And the difference isn't discipline or willpower. The difference is that I built a life where the game is one of many things I enjoy. Not the only thing that makes me feel like I'm going somewhere. That's it. That's the whole thing. You don't need to quit gaming. You need to make sure gaming isn't the only place where your life feels like it's moving forward. I'll see you in the next one.